Hi everyone and welcome back to Game 3 of Round 3 of the Star City Games Invitational Legacy Tournament in Doncaster. Eduardo has started out with a Gitaxian probe here on Brad Pearce's mud deck, and he's not going to be too happy about what he's seeing there.
No, Brad has 3 different types of hate, a wasteland as well, and enough mana to cast everything. You may have to put one of his City Traitors in the bin to cast that Golem on turn 2 if he wants to, but it's going to be pretty rough from Eduardo from here. But at least now, the Stormnet didn't used to have Abrupt Decay, and it was very, very hard to interact with Chalice or Trinisphere. Yeah. You were playing things like Pulverize and things like that at your Burning Wish sideboard.
He may well have, in being Ad Nauseam Tendrils, he may well have access to Cabal Therapy and Duress. So
I believe if he's playing Gitaxian Blow, he will have Cabal Therapy.
If he can fire enough discard spells off, maybe he can force a way through those. Maybe limit Brad to 1.
Yeah, the issue is, like, he has to play a discard spell now, or Brad's going to make that Chalice on 1, and that turns all his discard off.
In fact, I think here comes the it's Duress.
Luckily, Eduardo had the Swamp to cast it as well, so he's not going to get put back to nothing in his turn.
Yep. And since he's not going to get put back to nothing, if he can follow that up with a Therapy or another Duress, he can. I'm pretty sure that Storm can go off through a Lodestone Golem.
Yeah, it just makes its rituals a little bit worse. I mean, it's the relevant body on the Lodestone that's going to beat him up that's quite an issue.
I mean, if you were in Eduardo's spot here, would you be tempted just to drop your Lion's Eyes and Lotus Petals on the table just to generate mana for you?
It is a valid strategy. It just depends whether. And there you go. You may be doing that now, or you may be going off. It's a valid strategy. It depends how many spells he actually has in his hand.
Yeah, it looks like he just played his Lion's Eye Diamond there, knowing well that Brad's got Trinisphere in his hand.
Being stuck on one land when there's a Trinisphere on the opposite side of the table is quite unfortunate, especially when one of your opponent's land is a wasteland.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure, and we're just looking, I can just get a little bit of a glimpse at what Eduardo's seeing now with his hand. Unfortunately, it's a little bit it's underneath his life total, so it's hard to see. But he does have. I'm pretty sure if he'd have found a second land there, he probably would have killed Brad
on turn 2. Yeah, I believe so. It looks like he had like at least one Cabal Ritual, if not another. And I thought I saw an Infernal Tutor as well. The way Trinisphere and Lodestone Golem work is Trinisphere sets the spell to 3, then Lodestone Golem makes you want to pay 1 more. So all of Eduardo's spells cost at least 4 mana now.
Actually, that's not the way it works.
Is it not?
Okay, that is not the way it works. What happens is that Trinisphere is the very last thing to act. So it's like the Lodestone Golem adds 1 to the spell. Say Eduardo wanted to cast Duress here. Lodestone Golem would make it cost 1 more, so it would cost 2, and then Trinisphere would make it cost 3.
Yeah, that's fine. I was confused with if you cast a 3 cost, it would then cost 4.
Yeah, a 3 costs 4, a 2, 1 and 2s cost 3, and a 3 costs 4 now. Really, really weird interactions with Trinisphere and Legacy.
It just looks like Eduardo's like a bit choked on mana. I mean, that's obviously going to be the case when your opponent's interactive either way Brad's deck is.
Yeah.
With the amount of time he's put into thinking, I do believe he is quite close to maybe sculpting something if he sees his 3rd land.
My guess is if he sees his 3rd land this turn, he's probably going to cast a couple of spells like Ponder. He's going to cast 1 Ponder or 1 Preordain or something like that.
They're not the best of spells when they cost 3 mana.
To be honest, the sad fact is, in some formats they might still see play even at 3 mana.
Could be.
I mean, Preordain was pretty good, right?
Just a little bit, yeah. I mean, he did have quite a good support network as well.
Yeah. Squadron Hawk, Jace the Mind Sculptor, Stoneforge Mystic, all that sort of good stuff.
Well, apart from the Hawks, that deck's directly ported into Legacy, like with the Stoneblade decks, whether they be Esper or just blue-white or blue-white-red. Or even if they play Garrett Primal Hunter, as some lists we've seen lately.
Yeah,
City games.
Greediest list I have ever seen. Anyway, Eduardo does have a Ponder.
Unfortunately, he's had to fetch that Underground Sea, or he's drawn the Underground Sea, one of the two. and that Wasteland's still going to make him quite a sad panda.
Yep.
I elected after my devastation at Standard yesterday.
I really think that Eduardo's plan probably at this point is just to cast these draw spells, somehow get himself to Threshold and Cabal Ritual off.
Yeah, that was probably the case. To be honest, if he's exposed that Underground Sea to the Wasteland, he probably did it on purpose. He may already have the land for next turn, due to, with the ad nauseum tenders, that you generally only expose yourself to Wasteland when you want to hit Threshold. They generally run two to three basic lands, where I think 3's the more accepted number.
It's just so much. It does seem very strange for a deck that wants to kill so fast, is still very wary about protecting itself against cards like Wasteland.
Well, the ad nauseum deck's not really supposed to kill on turn 1. It's got the potential to. It's more of a, you set up turns 1 to 3 and always kill on turn 4. Whereas the other Storm deck in the format, the Epic Storm, that's more of a, I want to kill you on turn 1, and it runs a lot more artifact mana. And it's a lot safer casting ad nauseum with no mana floating, because it's got the 4 Lotus Petals, 3 Chrome Mox, and 4 LEDs, whereas the Storm deck Eduardo's playing probably doesn't run the Chrome Moxes, but it does have the other 8. So it's a little bit more of a risky situation for Eduardo to ad nauseum with no mana floating.
The other thing that was made, so Storm's a little bit more of a not quite as all-in style deck, say like something like Belcher would be a all-in turn 1 deck.
Yeah, you see a lot of Belcher players though waiting till turn 2 to get that one more card if they're not quite there, or they think they've got the time to wait just to make sure they can kill you.
I suppose if you're looking at the absolutely speediest deck, you probably be Spanish Inquisition. But
yeah, apparently it's got something like a 75% turn 1 win, but the deck's ridiculously complicated to play. It's using Cruel Barriers, Infernal Contracts, Culling the Weak with like 1 main deck creature, well 2, it's got a Dryad Arbor as well. So it's got Land Grant in there, you can fetch up the Dryad Arbor with that, or you can summon as Pact for your Audius Toe to Culling the Weak. Yes, there are some strange decks in Legacy.
And if you know what that card does, please leave a comment. There have been a couple of additions to combo decks, or at least people feel like there could be additions to combo decks, mainly from Gatecrash coming in recently. There's been a little bit of excitement about some self-mill cards in that set, hasn't there?
Yeah, it's basically an extension of like a Cephalid breakfast plan, where you use your creatures to mill yourself, and then you bring in, I think it's Azami, Lady of Scrolls, and Lab Maniac off your Narcomoebas, flashing back Cabal Therapist to flash back Dread Returns.
I mean, to be fair, to me it just felt like, I would say bad Belcher is what it felt like.
Yeah, Belcher's got, so I think that deck has access to 8 win conditions. Now, don't quote me on that, I'm not entirely sure what the list is. However, that's 8 ways to find its win conditions, because it's got 4 of each of the creatures. But Belcher has 4 Burning Wish, 3 Empty the Warrens, 4 Belchers. That's a lot more ways.
Yeah. Now, unfortunately for Eduardo, it looks like he was setting up here, but Brad has resolved a second Lodestone Golem, so now his Cabal Rituals cost 4.
And net him 0 mana.
Well, net him 1 mana off. So even though he now can force Threshold, it's not going to be enough, I don't think, here. It's very, very close. I mean, it's still one of those things here where Mud has got such what appears to be an insane start with 2 Lodestone Golems and a Trinisphere, and if Eduardo had seen that land on turn 2, or the second Lodestone hadn't hit, he probably still could have killed Brad through it.
Well, he was on the draw as well, and had a Gataxian Probe. So that was like 3 draws he had to see one of his lands, or maybe a Dark Ritual, he could have needed one of those. That might have given the extra mana as well. So he felt like he was drawing very live. But this is the resiliency of the Storm decks. Like, he's still kind of in the game, and if you look at his opponent's board position, that's pretty tasty.
Yeah.
I mean, Brad's played this quite well. He's just played all his things in the correct order, setting up like a soft lock, so to speak, against him. And I don't think Eduardo can cast Ad Nauseam on 2 life either.
No, and Eduardo has extended the hand there. Unfortunately, he was not able to punch through Brad's series of living thorns. So Brad will move on to 3 and 0, and we will see you in round 4.